Hey everybody, it's Candy, aka Brown Eyed Girl 69. Well, today is January 14th of 2025. And it's a Tuesday. And I'm normally working on Tuesdays. I've been working Tuesdays for as long as I can remember. I normally have Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays off. But this week, he gave me Monday, Tuesday off. I work tomorrow. And then I'm off Thursday. And then I'll work Friday and Saturday. And I always work the 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. shift. I'm definitely a regular daytime shift person now. I don't think I'll ever work evenings again. Anyway, I haven't made a video in a minute. I've just been kind of quiet, soaking up everything that's going on, and not really giving my opinion on it. Simply because there's already enough people out there giving their opinions, and why add another one to the mix, right? But pretty much everybody that knows me or has followed my channel for a while now knows exactly probably what I'm going to say anyway about it. That it's all contrived, it's all scripted, it's all part of the agenda. And that these natural disasters aren't so natural, but planned events to take place to corral the American population into what they want them to do. LA, I think, is going to be a testing ground for some of the things that they actually want to implement across the whole entirety of the country. But they need a couple of testing grounds first, to see how it's going to go. Smart cities, basically, I think, are just going to be more of a technological prison that give people the idea that they're free. Smart cities are going to be the new concentration camp, basically. And that's what they're implementing. That's what they want. They want to be able to control the humans. More so than they ever have. It reminds me of what they're doing in LA. It reminds me of this movie called Escape from LA. There was also another movie called Escape from New York, originally with, I can't even remember his name now. An actor, Kurt something, is married to Goldie Hawn. But, yeah, he made this movie, Kurt Russell made the movie Escape from New York, and then he made the movie Escape from LA. Well, New York isn't much better than LA. I mean, New York's not burning down, but they have been overrun with migrants, illegals crossing the border and wreaking havoc in their state. Lots of crime. Crime is like through the roof right now in New York City. I wouldn't want to live there. Hell, I have no desire to even want to go there ever again. I've never been there. I used to have a desire to want to go to New York City and see some of the things that New York City has and try some of the restaurants that they have, and go to a few places that have been portrayed in movies, seen in movies like Brooklyn, in the movie Saturday Night Fever. I also wanted to go to the school that Welcome Back, Kotter was based off of. That was in Brooklyn, New York as well. I wanted to see the Statue of Liberty, of course, the Empire State Building, etc., etc. Try some of the street food and little different mom pa type cafes, and maybe try to take in a play on Broadway and go listen to a friend of mine that is a trombonist in a jazz band in New York. Go watch him play. Things like that. But now I don't have a desire to go do any of those things because of the fact that New York is what's going on there. California, I've been there before. I lived in San Diego for 8 months. Traveled to LA in February of 2015, I believe it was. And LA, at that point in time, was on its way down, There was a ton of homeless people then. I was one of them. Me and Daryl left San Diego, headed to LA, and we was going to continue to head north, but we had left San Diego a little sooner than we should have because it was still cold, especially the further north that we were heading because it was still during winter. And we get to LA, and it's really raining and just not that great of weather, and we didn't really have a plan. We were just basically following our nose, and going off information that had been given to us by other homeless people, other travelers. So I've been to LA, been to Hollywood. I never went out to any of the ritzy neighborhoods like the Palisades or Burbank or any of those places. We were in Anaheim. We were in downtown LA. We went to Anaheim. We were in Venice Beach. And being homeless for a week in Venice Beach, everybody thinks it's so great. No. It was a total struggle, it was very wearing, simply because of the size of the city and where all the places to help you, resources, they were so spread out, You might have one resource on one side of town, and then the next resource might be, 30, 40, 50 blocks away. Well, when you don't have money to take the bus, and all you have to do is use your feet to get to point A to point B, it's a little difficult when everything's so spread out. You can't get everything taken care of in one day, Whereas in some of the smaller communities, you could, because everything's a little closer together. But yeah, I wasn't too impressed with Los Angeles. I'd actually been out to Los Angeles, California in 1977. It was the first time I ever went to California. I was 8 years old, and my dad had a cousin that lived out in Anaheim. And then he had a friend that he had been in the service with, that he had stayed in touch with, even after they'd gotten out of the service, and that lived in San Diego. So, that summer of 77, or was it 76? Might have been the summer of 76. Might have been summer of 76 or summer of 77, but we went out there for a vacay, went to Disneyland. We stayed with my dad's cousin in Anaheim one night. I think we went out to eat at a Big Boy, Kip's Big Boy restaurant back in the day. Drove around Anaheim, seen some of the sights and whatnot. I think we went and drove up and down Hollywood Boulevard. But we didn't get out to go look at the stars or anything like that on the sidewalks. However, I did get to see that in 2015. And then we went to Disneyland and the next day, and then that either after we left Disneyland, we went back to my dad's cousin's house, spent the night, got up the next morning, drove to San Diego to his veteran friend's house. And they lived on a hill that was like, you had to go up. It was, to me, I was a small child, so it seemed probably bigger than it actually was in real life. But you had to go up this winding road, kind of like up the side of this mountain. And their house was up there. It was a really huge house. They had a swimming pool out in their front yard. In their backyard, they had like a barn and a farmyard, pretty much. They had fruit trees up on their property, a garden. They had horses, chickens. There was another house that was up on their property that was more of a, it was like a garage storage area, and then above that was a big living area. And they had this Hispanic family that actually worked for them and worked their land and everything like that, living there. And they had a little girl, and we were close to the same age, maybe a couple years difference. She didn't speak a lick of English, I didn't speak a lick of Spanish, but we played in the swimming pool together, and my mother said it seemed like the language barrier wasn't even there, you know, that me and her was just having a grand old time. Even though we couldn't understand each other's language, we still played and had a good time. And see, that night we went to Tijuana, Mexico, because it wasn't that far, it was just over the border. And I think we ate some real authentic Mexican food in some Mexican restaurant. We went around and looked at all the little shops that they had. My mother kept me very close to her. She was a little, I think she was afraid that I was going to get snatched up in a foreign country. That night we drove back across, into America, and the next day, I think we stayed there a couple days, and then we drove home. My mom said all this took place in like a total week's time, 7 days. The drive out there, the drive back. So that was like 2 days for the driving. And then we had 5 days to visit family, friends, and do Disneyland. So, the house that my dad's friend owned up on top of that mountain, side of that mountain, supposedly was haunted. He supposedly hypnotized my dad as well to stop smoking, but my dad never stopped smoking. The house was supposedly haunted. My mother and I had an experience in the middle of the night one night, and we still to this day don't know what happened. We don't know if it was a ghost, but it was definitely something going on. But that's been my experience with California. As an adult, when I was there, the end of 2014 into 2015, I wasn't too impressed with it. I wasn't impressed with the drive when we left from San Diego to go to Mount Shasta. How long it took us to drive that distance. California is a pretty big state. And once you get outside of LA, all the way until you pretty much get to Sacramento, San Francisco exit, it's all farmland. And it stinks to high heaven of manure. And when you look out on both sides, all you see are these large, huge pens with all these cows stuffed in them. And they look like they're standing in mud, but they're actually standing in their own manure up to like their knees. It's pretty disgusting. Um, there's a lot of almond farms, wine farms, wine vineyards there in Northern California. I never got to drive along the coast of Northern California on the 101. That would have been kind of cool. I never got to go to San Francisco. I never really had a desire to go to San Francisco. Too many horror stories I'd heard from travelers that were like me and Daryl, without a roof. They were just traveling through, trying to survive. Heard too many horror stories. So, me and Daryl always was trying to stay safe in our travels. So, if we heard too many bad things about a specific city or town, we did everything we could in our power to avoid those areas. Anyway, those were just a few little experiences in my life concerning California. As far as my feelings on what's happened, well, I guess they're kind of mixed. I do have empathy and compassion in my heart for those people that have lost their homes or lost somebody they knew. And these aren't the rich. These aren't the ones that are being shown in public. These aren't the actors and actresses that I speak of. I'm speaking of the no-named people that are just regular humans like you and me that live in California, that owned a home there in the Palisades. You don't have to be an actor or actress to live in the Palisades. However, you do probably have to have pretty decent credit and income to afford to live there. But some of these people that lost their homes and livelihoods, like all the businesses that were surrounding the Palisades as well that burned, grocery stores, supplies, home improvement stores, restaurants, coffee shops, things of that nature got burned down to the ground. Well, those people that survived it, they don't no longer have a job. They don't no longer have a home to live in. They might have their life, but they don't have a home, and they don't have a job. Now they might not even have a car, and they might not even have anything except for the clothes on their back. And you know what? I've been there. I know what it's like to not have anything. I know what it's like to be only own what you can carry on your back. Because I did it for 5 years, lived on city streets, lived in a tent, lived a very minimalistic lifestyle, had to live frugal, budgeting wise with money, had to rely on the goodness of others, the kindness of other humans. So my heart goes out to those folks. My heart also goes out for the animals, and wildlife that lost their homes as well and lost their lives and are being displaced. And all the resources that should be available to fight this thing aren't available, like water. Got a whole ocean out there that they can't use because of the salt. This salt would actually probably ignite the fire even more. So it just befuddles me, and all these insurance companies that cut these homeowners off 3-4 months ahead of time from fire insurance, dropped fire insurance off their policies. They weren't going to cover it anymore. Makes you start wondering, did they know? Did they have some sort of advance notification of what was going to happen or what could happen in the near future? And I'm going to sit here and say, yes, I do believe there was a lot of people out there in the know of what was about to happen. Because like I said, it's all scripted. It's all part of the agenda. Anyways, I hope you folks have a most awesome, wonderful day. evening, wherever you are in this world. Me, I'm just basically living my life, doing the things I do. I basically work my job, I come home. I help my kids out, I run my errands. Pretty much that's it. And sit here on social media and try to educate myself on different subject matters. Educating myself for things that I might need in the future. The things that I need to know. The information I need comes to me when I need it, so. But pretty much that's all I'm doing. I really backed off of being on YouTube as much. I am on YouTube, but like I said, I'm watching videos that I try to watch videos that will bring me some sort of knowledge, some more information that I need, educate myself in different areas, different arenas, whether that's on how to eat better and healthier, or small steps into getting back into exercising, or just all sorts of different subject matters. Meditation, diving deep into oneself, healing yourself from trauma, realizing why you behave the way you behave, etc., etc. It's just all more of a self-evaluation kind of thing for me. Living in solitude gives you that time to be able to work on yourself, to do self-evaluation as to where you are here in life versus where you were. And also gives you time to reflect on where you want to go and to try to set goals and achieve them. So you can be living the best life and the best version of yourself that you want and are. Anyways, people, much love. Happy New Year again. 2025 looks like it's going to be pretty crazy. But I just say hold on to your, hold on and ride the wave, because that's all one can do, right? Until we take our last breath. Peace, love, hugs, and hugs, and until the next time, I'm out.